Well, hello, everybody. It's Thursday, and it's Bobby Atkins here again today. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Can't complain. It's been a decent week, weather-wise, and overall bonds didn't take too bad in shorts this week. It's been okay.
Good.
And hopefully it gets better so people will get out there. And the problem is if you're not looking for a house right now and then the rates keep getting better, you're going to be wishing you did earlier because you're going to have a lot more competition. A lot more.
We'll be back to probably not as crazy as we were the last couple of years, but definitely a competitive market.
Well, we're not even the inventory itself right now. We're not even pre-pandemic levels. Did you know that?
Yeah. I mean, if
you know that, but I'm just saying people don't know that. All they hear is inventory is so crazy. We have so much inventory.
Yeah, and it's not compared to 3 months ago.
Yeah, compared to when nobody wanted to sell their house. Yeah. Right. So pre-pandemic means 2019 up until 2020 March previous to that inventory was much higher than it is now. Yeah. And so but everybody thinks the whole thing's falling apart. No, it's not. Stop listening. They're trying to sell stuff. It's so easy to be negative. Like Mark Twain said, there's lies, damn lies, and then statistics. They're using statistics their way. I have a book around here, how to sell, how to do anything with statistics, meaning how to lie with statistics. You figure you can use any numbers any way you want it and find what you're looking for. And that's what they're doing right now. And I want to get into a whole thing about just stop listening to TV and other places about this stuff. It's not out there. California's different.
Well, and, call someone who's actually in the business, right? Because you got some person that's on a TV show that's coming out of New York, even if it's specific to their area, it's not going to count for us, right? So call a local professional. I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say you would do that anyway, right? Mm-hmm. You'd call it if you having heart problems. You're not going to call your dentist, right?
Well, it depends if he's a good friend of mine. He's going to give me a ride to the doctor, maybe.
Yeah. Say call someone who specializes in
or it's my wife and I need her to take me somewhere. Yeah. You're right. But back to the whole thing, like New York, right? Oh, horrible. But the rents are going through the roof there. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't believe people are coming back to New York of all places.
Well, the rents are going crazy everywhere, man. Like, just like here. So, we're looking average rents for like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath and $1,900 to $2,400 a month. And that's for a decent place.
Right.
Granted, you can find places that are less expensive. I've seen them in questionable areas for $1,500.
Right, but then so the most important thing is if you're going to have your daughter in a place, you're not going to put her in a questionable area, are you?
No, obviously, right. Especially you worry about your safety, right? Now, I mean, if you're a young single guy, and I've lived in some sketchy neighborhoods, but I was never worried about my safety. Right. With my family now, totally different.
Yeah, and this time of year of the nation where law and order is not as prevalent.
Yeah.
When you're driving your car in Modesto and you almost get hit because people are running red lights like nobody's business, or as soon as they turn red, they're still going through them. The traffic ridiculous. It's ridiculous right now, and no one cares. It's like, oh, there's no motorcycle cops to give me a ticket, right? Yeah. It's like, Modesto PD, we need more motorcycle cops out. All right. As much as I complained about them before, we need more of you.
Hey, I know a few of them too.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's ridiculous. I can't believe it. I was, if I'm and I don't drive that much, right? Because I live so close to home, and I run into it right now. It's like, and I'm get off my soapbox, but it's like, I'm more important than you. I got to get in front of you. It's like, but your light's red. Yeah. All right, done with that. All right, so I think we were going to talk about today budget versus reality.
Yeah,
I'm real big on knowing your budget and your numbers. You're even more than that. But what I'm going to get at is sometimes in this market, what you want for a budget for a payment isn't going to work right now.
That's true. It is. I mean,
we have a client right now, right? We'll just talk about. She has a budget number in her mind. That's all she can afford. The problem is there's no houses like that around here now anymore. She can afford more with our numbers, right? When we are a mortgage company and how we figure out debt to income ratio and all that stuff, she could figure out, according to us, she can do more. However, with her, she has a certain number she doesn't want to go over that period. And the issue is, even if we do a 2-1 buy down, which we talked about last week on one of those shows and showed how that works, it makes her payment the first year very close to that. Second year is a little bit more. The third year goes to the full. Well, that can scare people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's a good option for people who are very, you know, monthly payment sensitive. But it's a short-term fix, right? Because like you said, we're kind of gambling against the market that rates will go down and we can refinance before it goes to that payment. So it's like, if you're not going to be comfortable with that final payment, then
don't do it.
Yeah. Let's not do it. If you think you can be good and you can budget appropriately to be able to afford that. But I think human nature is to kind of adjust our style of living and then cinch down when we have to, right?
Right. But the problem is you also, it's different now. We're not in a 2.75 interest rate market where everybody can afford that and have that low payment. Yeah. We were in a pandemic, which meant we didn't know if we were going to survive. You know, people were dying everywhere. And I don't mean to laugh about it. I'm just saying, but it was, and that's a nervous thing, not a funny thing.
Yeah.
The issue is, we were in a time of our country where we had no idea what was going on. We were locked down. We couldn't do something. So that caused interest rates to drop. And then people are like, okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to some place where there's less people. Right. And that changed everything for us. But that was an unusual situation. So now we're back to rates pre-pandemic and a little bit higher, but it's still affordable for a lot of people. And if you can afford it, buy it now, because you're going to wish you did. Yeah. And we keep saying this, but people aren't hearing us.
People were getting priced out of the market, you know, because
I mean, before or now?
Well, I'm not gonna say now, right? So, you know, 2 years ago, median house price was probably about 330, 350 for a nice house in a decent neighborhood. And now, I mean, FHA is at 476, and we're just seeing all the house prices, you know, bump up that way. So, I mean, now and not, you know,
it's even higher because conforming loan limit just went to 715 from 647. That's almost 100. You know, it's not 100 grand, but it's $70,000 more. So I would say that pre-pandemic, it wasn't 350, it was 400 was an average home. 2 years earlier, I would have said 350. You follow me?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about all my buyers I got in for like under 400. But yeah.
But I'm just saying, but where and what, it's just different now. I mean, 476, you know, the FHA max purchase price, right? Because the loan limit's lower. That's not necessarily a great place, even there. You know what I mean? It's, you have to look. And when I saw what my house came in, and I'm like, holy cow, this market really changed a lot in the last 3 years. And value went up. I mean, I had somebody else call me for something else, and, you know, they owe 300 and now their value is 711. There's like 400, you know, that's average people have 50% or greater equity in their home by just being there. And so what I want to get is budget versus reality. It's okay if you're paying more than what you want in your budget, because it's not a cost, it's an investment. And that's what I think people don't look at. They don't look at this purchasing this. So you got rent, which is a cost. Oh, you can't see my hand, but rent, which is a cost. And then you have buying the home. That is not, it's an investment. And you have to look at it as an investment, that pay a little bit more for the investment, goes towards principal, goes towards what your home, that is your home. And eventually you'll pay that off. Yeah. And eventually you'll get used to the payment. Eventually you're going to make more money, you know, because that's just with inflation and everything else going up.
When you have the mortgage interest deduction plus.
No, you don't.
Huh?
Average people don't do the mortgage interest rate deduction.
What do you mean?
Just what I mean. Most people take the standard deduction, which is greater than the mortgage interest rate. You're a real estate agent. That's different for you.
Oh, okay. Well,
so if you're a real estate agent, you can write off certain things that other people can't. Okay. But the law changed when Trump changed the tax guidelines, right? They okay, you get 12,500. Your wife gets 12,500. You have $25,000 in a standard deduction, not counting your kids, right? That's just how it is. That is usually more than the interest write-off that you would do on your home. Okay. So for most people, they don't write off the interest anymore. They write off the standard deduction. Gotcha. If you have a rental, or if you have other things, or a business, it's a totally different thing. You have a business and your home and other thing, and you're an agent. Real estate people can write off interest that other people cannot. That's part of that's how that works. That's why people own companies and they buy real estate and they invest in real estate, because you can write off so much stuff and pay hardly any taxes. They made fun of Trump not paying any taxes. Well, that's because he was doing development. When you're in development, it's a totally different game when it comes to taxes. You push them forward into other things you're doing. So, and I'm not trying, and that's a lot of people we used to sell by, when you buy a home, it's an investment and it's a tax deductible. And that's why you're doing it, because you can write off the interest. That changed a few years ago. So that's, if they don't change the tax code, it's going to stay that way. If they change the tax code and make it to where you don't get that 12,500 standard deduction per individual, then you'll start writing it off again. Okay. But as of right now, that's not how that works.
And not that I'm a CPA, but also
neither are we. We're not tax advisor. I'm just letting you know what I know. And when we're talking, you need to check out with your tax advisor, because you might be able to, because you have other investments. I don't know. That's just, it's different. But for the average person, they take the standard deduction.
But, you know, a lot of people don't know who haven't owned a home before. You can also, you know, claim your home, right? So
you mean for business? No,
just in general, right? You can. So say you have a wife and 2 kids, right? So that's going to be 4 people, but then you have your home, so you claim 5.
What are you talking about? Oh, when you're doing your deductions.
Yeah.
So you can, but you have to be careful with that. Again, if you're not writing off interest, then it's different. Talk to your tax person. Yeah, don't talk to us. Talk to your tax person.
I just ask my tax guy, and he tells me. I say, okay.
It's different. Talk to your tax guy, or girl, or lady, or them.
Tax individual.
They. Whoever, whatever the pronoun is these days, or whatever they go by, I don't care. Just have somebody go look through your stuff. Because we used to say, all right, when you buy a home, you can raise your deduction 1 more for the house. We used to say that too, because of the interest you were going to write off. You just have to be careful, because not everybody writes out that interest. So I'm not saying it's not what's going to happen, but just talk to your tax person to see what you're going to benefit from it. The most important thing that I say to buy homes, and that's why I trademark the phrase building personal wealth through home ownership, is you're going to buy a home to build personal wealth. That's what you do. Yeah. So because think about how many people in the last 3 years, how much money they made by owning homes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge.
And like you said, with any investment, most people don't think they're going to invest in something and make a ton of money in a matter of 6 months to a year. Right.
Well, you shouldn't think that way. Even in the house,
that happens, you get lucky, right?
Right.
But long term, you know, I mean, anyone who's been in their house, you know, for 7 to 10 years is more than doubled their equity, right? So that's the way I look at it. You know, every time I make that monthly mortgage payment, it doesn't hurt.
No, well, you fix that payment so it won't go up when you're renting. So we brought up New York, and the rents in New York, right? They go up 10% a year.
Yeah,
the rents. That's some good comedian was talking about, you know, that his landlord, he needs to thank his landlord for making him work harder, because his parents didn't. Because the increase each year, he had to, you know, make more money. Yeah. And that's the problem. But, you know, tax reasons and buying a home, it's important to look at, when I buy a home, what I'm doing for the future and what you're doing. And that's why you want to buy a home, because your payment is fixed. You know what's going to be going forward. You don't have to worry about someone coming in and saying, we're raising your payment by 5% or 8% in California with rents. It's just a better thing to do. Plus, if you own a home versus if you rent, you have 300,000 more average additional net worth, and a renter only has $8,000. So that's the difference. So, I mean, just by owning a home, you're building personal wealth over time. And that's important. I had another point that was in there I lost when you started talking, but that's okay. We got some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Just, you know, make sure you look at what you're going to do. Talk to your tax advisor, plan your future. Once you buy the house, make sure you get a will, a trust, all that stuff to protect you, especially if you're married. So you know what happens, because there's nothing worse than having the government tell you through probate who gets your house, you know, not that who gets it, but even with a will, you still go through probate. With a trust, you do not.
I've been preaching the trust thing for many years, and a lot of people tell me, oh, I was told by so and so, and I saw you know, I've seen some messy stuff with houses that aren't in trust. So.
Yeah, my aunt just passed away a couple months ago, and they didn't have a trust. They had a will. They didn't even have a will. So it's got to go, but it's got to go through probate. All the kids understand what they're going to do, but it's still, you're going to pay $41,000 to the attorneys and fees and all this stuff, at least, to go through the probate. And why do that? That's just money you've given away.
Yeah, a trust is cheap. What's like $1,500?
Yeah, but you can also do it through like some LegalZoom or some of those places if you're going to be cheap to have it done through there.
Yeah,
I'd recommend getting an attorney and doing it through there. But if you don't want to spend that money, you could at least get the one through like a place like a legal service thing.
Have you done a show on that recently?
What?
How like had an attorney come in and discuss trusts?
No. Need to have one.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun show.
I had one a few years ago. I just need to get them back in, but I'm trying to look for additional trust people. So if you know any trust attorneys, because mine's just so busy that even to do our stuff, it's taking forever.
Gotcha.
Okay. Nothing bad about it. Just they're busy.
Yeah.
So it's important to have some more people that are good. Anyway, I think we answered some budget versus reality. You might have to pay a little bit more now, and then eventually, someday refinance, but don't go into it for thinking that I'm going to refinance right away, because that's how you lose a home.
Yeah.
Right. That's what a lot of people did in 2005 and 6. They're going to look how much money I'm making.
Well, and you know what? Every day when you wake up and you go out and make that cup of coffee, you're like, man, I love this house.
Right.
You come home and
it's your house. You can do what you want with,
good or bad. Yeah. Right. I've seen some bad updates, but it's your home. All
right, we'll get to do another show on the bad updates, what not to do.
We could do 2 shows on that.
All right, well, we will. All right, everybody, make it a